So, hi everyone, it's Dr. Ramani. I'm going to start this video with a question. How many of you have had a situation where you're in a narcissistic relationship, but you really got stuck because that narcissistic person ended up helping your family? So when you wanted to end the relationship, it got real messy. Drop that in the comments. So, what do you do if a narcissistic person rolls around, someone who's in your life, and they help your family? Now, I know some of you are thinking, like, what? A narcissistic person helping my family? Like, that's ever going to happen. I know that's not a modal experience, but sometimes it really is. It's a very specific video, but I know that this is a theme that's affected more than a few people. So, you are in a narcissistic relationship. More likely sort of a long-term relationship or maybe a marriage. The narcissistic person is successful enough, and enough so, maybe that they can offer help to your family. And maybe it's not even because they're successful, but they do offer help to your family. Maybe it is financial. Maybe they pay for a vacation or help by giving someone a car. Or maybe it's even bigger ticket than that. They pay down a house, or they pay college tuition for someone in the family, or they purchase them a car. Like big ticket stuff. But it is, in fact, a narcissistic relationship. And let's say this is a sort of a romantic, intimate relationship. You as their partner may be enduring the worst of their behavior. And now your family may have become somewhat dependent financially on the narcissistic person. What do you do? Because even if your family was once team you, now that that financial largesse has come into the picture, you may now find yourself with fewer places to turn and have watched your family, if they weren't already there, fully indoctrinated into the sense of beholdenness that comes with someone giving you lots of stuff and goodies, in this case, with the narcissist. I have worked with and talked with several people who endured this, though this is not nearly as common as the miserly narcissistic person who's not generous. But it is amazing to me how pliable people become when someone picks up the check. What a great guy he is. He paid for dinner, or she's such an angel. She upgraded our flights. Now, while those things are nice, they're not substitutes for being a decent human being. But I think enough people are living close to the bone that when financial salvation rolls up, in whatever form it rolls up, people are willing to forgive a lot of sins. For the narcissistic person who has financial resources, it's such an efficient play. All they need to do is spend money, which they have, and then they don't need to waste their time with empathy or self-awareness or respect and kindness. They just need to lay down their credit card, and then they get validation and adoration and even respect. And it keeps them in the dominant position, and in fact, other people beholden to them. But remember, it's not always money. It may very well be that the narcissistic person fixes stuff around the house, fixes the house itself, fixes the car, do favors. Maybe they go and get advice from a friend who is a physician or a friend who's a lawyer, or they give some other form of free advice that would otherwise be expensive. That also counts for generosity. And so your family may feel deeply beholden, and in their cognitive dissonance to keep that sort of helpful gravy train rolling, will need to paint you as the bad one. Oh, they're so helpful. What are you saying? Must be you. None of that feels good. This can really confuse and infuse a person going through narcissistic abuse with self-doubt. Thinking like, oh, maybe my partner is a good person. They paid for this or they did that. My family's doing better now. Everyone's really grateful for the help. If I leave this relationship, then my family may be in a worse place or less supported. And you have to be honest with yourself. You may lose the support of your own family because you're cutting that off. So this generosity thing can keep people stuck for years and years. And not just stuck, but also without support or empathic ears because so many people have been bought and paid for. Your family will be more likely to tell you that your standards are unrealistically high, or that you are a rotten person who asks too much, or that you actually want them to suffer. Against that kind of criticism, it can be really hard for a person to hold their ground. This is going to be such a stupid example, but in fact, I remember years ago watching the film Titanic. There was that fictional character, Rose, the redheaded lady, who had a narcissistic mother, and she had a narcissistic partner. She was sort of like the center of the story. And the partner, the narcissistic partner, paid for the mom's stuff too and gave the mom social status. So the mother had no problem throwing her daughter under the bus to be with the abusive narcissistic partner. Now here's the thing. Most of us don't have a sinking ship and a vagabond suitor, Jack Dawson, to save us under these conditions. But that idea of generosity keeping someone stuck, it's the stuff of stories, right? This sort of pseudo-generosity is such an interesting and troubling narcissistic pattern because, again, it confirms how transactional these relationships are. Narcissistic folks often give to get dominance, authority, favors, validation, adoration, respect, control. The giving silences dissent and sort of leaves people in their sway kind of stuck. And when it happens with your family, it's a really unique situation because you have to balance the benefit to your family and the harm to you. You don't have to, but that's what people do. And many people relent and stay in the narcissistic relationship because it can feel like the safest and easiest path forward. Relationships are obviously interdependent. Your intimate relationship and there's families around you and all of that. And there's going to be some version of the doing and all of that. But you might be shocked at watching a person who is so gaslighting, so manipulative, so negating, who's rolling up and taking care of things, whether financially or practically, for your own family. It's confusing, it's frustrating, and it can leave you stuck. It can be really, really hard to make a decision that you know may actually ultimately inconvenience your family. But then you really have to ask yourself, is your life meant to be a sort of a sacrifice so your family can get whatever free stuff they're getting? And make no mistake, if your relationship with a narcissistic person did end, and they have done all these things for your family, don't be surprised if they show up with a bill. Thanks again.